it is still early in the year, and we are still expecting some things that we want from God to happen throughout the year. But for us to gain that blessings or gain whatever we want to gain from God, we need to be able to have the knowledge of self. We need to be able to understand the God within us. Because if we don't understand the God within us, how can we truly be able to manifest God's blessings? Because one thing to pray, there's one thing to act upon your prayer or act upon your prayers, which is manifestation. But however, everything is done by learning, by studying, by also living. By living, because living, like the saying goes, experience is your best teacher. So you need to experience things so it can teach you. Even if you make mistakes, still experiencing it so you can teach you right from wrong. But this is literally what the topic is about. This topic is about more of the right or wrong in man. The right or wrong, why it's really, it could be really common sense sometimes that a human should know the right and a human should know the wrong, and the human should know his lower self and his higher self. But we have been dumbed down by shaitan, or the ungodly has been dumbed down by the shaitan. So it is time to bring back the wisdom of God, which will never die, because the truth never dies. As long as the tongue is living, the truth will never die. And this is what I'm here to speak about today. But this topic is called the spirit in man. Furthermore, this topic is called the spirit in man. So what is the spirit in man? This is what we need to know. Like, what is this spirit that is always abiding by us wherever we go? Even if we don't believe in this spirit, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So what is this spirit? What is the spirit that always drives us? What is the spirit that's always telling us to do righteous things, even if unrighteous things are lingering in our minds? What is this spirit? This is what we're going to find out, because we could easily say the spirit is God, but God is just a name. God is just a European term anyway, because when people say God, they don't understand. They don't understand that God is more than a name. You know, God is more than a name. The word God is a German word. It's a westernized word. It came from the word Gott. So when we say God, because we are speaking this low frequency English, because we're saying God, it's kind of dumbing down who, let me say, the Most High, the creator of the heaven and earth, creator of the universe, the creator of every single living thing, every single being, every single cell that rolls around this universe, that rolls around your body, the creator of that, the first scientist, the first teacher, you know, the first creator. God is a scientist, you know. But like I said, even scientist is just a word. There's more to this. There's more to this spirit in us. And this is what we're going to find out today. In order to understand the nature of God, you must first understand the nature of spirit. So like I said, God is spirit, because God, you can't see God. You know, we can only see God in our fellow beings. We can only see God within ourselves. Like when I look at myself, I see God. It says in the Bible that we are creating the image of God. So if I'm creating the image and likeness of God, then when I look in the mirror, what am I seeing? I'm seeing God. When I see an insect, I'm seeing God. You know what I'm saying? When I see animals, I'm seeing God. When I see another human being, I'm seeing God. When I see anything that's living and breathing, I'm seeing God. When I see the trees, I'm seeing God. When I see the clouds, I'm seeing God. When I look up in the heavens, I'm seeing God. When I breathe air, I'm breathing in God. Everything is God. But God is spirit. So God is omnipotent, omnipresent. So God is everywhere. He's everywhere at once. God is not only just in one place, he's everywhere. He's the ruler of everything. So in order to understand the nature of God, the nature of God, how does God act? Can God act? Can God express himself? Because it shows in the Bible, whenever you read the Bible, God is expressing himself like a human being. But we can only understand God in a human term, as a living being, as a living person. That's why it says in the Bible that sometimes God gets angry, sometimes God gets jealous. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're understanding him in a physical form. But God is more than that. But we can really say it's really impossible for us to understand God without us putting ourselves with God. Because that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to understand him through our human nature. So hence why the people that wrote the Bible will write the Bible that God said this and God said that, but they'll write it in their godly mind, but in a human form, in a human version. That God gets angry, God kills, God creates, God brings life, God takes life. But it's true, we see it today. God takes life and God brings life. But the only person that can take life and bring life is God. No one else can do that. But what I'm trying to say is that, well, no one else is allowed to do that. That's what I'm saying. You're not allowed to take life. You can bring life, but you're only doing it through God's will. The reason why you can bring life is because God gave you permission to bring life. God gave you the ability to reproduce. That's what it says in the Bible. Replenish the earth, be fruitful and replenish the earth. You know what I'm saying? So it's not merely us, because it's just how we were born. We can't control that. We can't control our reproduction. We've just been given it by the Most High. So who's really in control of the creation? It's God, not really us. But because we are connected to God, God gave us that power to do so through his will. But to take life, we are not allowed to take life. That's solely for God to do so. And God does this through natural paths like old age, or through sickness, natural sickness, things that just naturally happen. That's the way of God taking life. But God does it for a reason, just doesn't do it. Just do it. He has a purposeful reason. That's why God has a purposeful reason for everything. So anything that happens in his life, just know that it was the nature and it was the purpose of things. So in order to understand God, we must first understand the nature of spirit. So spirit and God, they're intertwined. Well, when we look at God, because we could just say I worship a spirit. But it's like, if I say that I worship a spirit, you wouldn't know what type of spirit I'm talking about. I could be talking about any type of spirit. There's a spirit of evil, you know what I'm saying? The spirit of death, the spirit of lies, the spirit of fornication, there's the spirit of killing, the spirit of evil, the spirit of Satan. You know what I'm saying? The spirit of negativity by the spirits of happiness. And that's and the spirit of faith, the spirit of belief, everything has a spirit. But the righteous spirit, the righteous aspect of the spirit, that's God. But it's like God is a spirit, but he's got different sides to him of that spirit. I'm not saying God, like I said in the Bible, I'm not saying God can't get angry. God can get angry. That's still a spirit of anger, but anger through righteousness. You're angry because because you're angry at the wrongdoings of other people, or the wrongdoings of things, and you want to make it right. So you use your anger to make it right. But people like to see anger as bad. But just like I said, to understand the spirit of God, to understand the nature of God, we must first understand the nature of spirit. That's what I'm going to dive into. So what is spirit? The spirit is a cycle with no beginning and no end. The circle is the symbol for the spirit, because the circle has no circumference. It goes on forever. This means the circle, which is spirit, is infinite. Let me break that down. So what is spirit? want to know what is spirit. That's what we know. To know God, we need to know spirit, because God is a spirit. We are spirit. Like I said, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. People like to think we're humans. We're humans. You're not human. You're not human. You're in this human body, but this human body decays. This human body ages. This human body gets sick. You know, this human body changes. It gets older. You know, but that's what I'm saying. It's not about the human body. It's not about the flesh. It's not about the worldly things. It's about the spirit, because the spirit can never die. The spirit can never get old. You know, the spirit can never age. The spirit can never have any diseases. And that's the spirit within us. And this one, what is spirit? Spirit is a cycle with no beginning and no end. It's a cycle. What's a cycle? Cycle is a repetition of something. You can see a cycle. That's why I mentioned it. A cycle is like a circle. The cycle keeps on going and going and going and going and going. It doesn't stop. It just keeps on going. And that's the spirit. Spirit is something that lives forever. That's why I said it's infinite. Spirit is infinite, something that lives forever, that does not die. The spirit is a cycle with no beginning and no end. The circle, now we're talking about a cycle. A cycle is more of the spiritual side of things. That's what I'm trying to say. It's more of a spiritual side of things, because a cycle is something that doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. But the way to understand it is by drawing a circle, because a circle has no circumference. There's no edges in a circle. The circle just keeps on going and going and going and going. And what is that? That's life. Life is a cycle. Life is a circle that keeps on going. So what can we say the spirit is? The spirit is life. Life is spirit. Life is spirit. You know? So the circle is the symbol for the spirit, because the circle has no circumference. It goes on forever. This means the circle, which is spirit, is infinite. The symbol, that's what I want you to know from this. The symbol of spirit is a circle. And this is why I created Over Circle. My organization is called Over Circle, to look over the circle, to take care of the circle, to take care of your spirit. Because I knew spirit, but I didn't know when I was making this, not knowing that it was God creating this in my mind when I was making this, because I didn't know why I called it Over Circle. But now I understand through studies and through seeking the knowledge of self and understanding the way self is and understanding the way God is. I knew that now I know that the reason why I said that I made Over Circle is because, or I named my organization Over Circle, is because God named the organization Over Circle. It wasn't even me, actually. It was God that named it. Because the circle is a symbol of the spirit. The circle can never die. The spirit can never die. So now we're going to dive into the Bible. So in Romans chapter 8, verse 5 says, people are of the spirit. People are of the spirit and need to have greater understanding of things of the spirit. So this verse here is trying to say that human beings, we are of the spirit anyway. Excuse me. Us as human beings, like I said, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So it's like, we are of the spirit anyway. So why shouldn't we understand things of the spirit? Why should we understand ourselves? You know, for example, your human flesh, you're human. Yeah. You need to understand what you should do to this body, what you shouldn't do to this body. You know what I'm saying? This is a vessel that, like I said, that dies, that decays, that gets diseases, you know? For example, food. You're living in this vessel. You know you're human, so you know you're meant to eat certain foods. You can't be eating like any other, like any other creature, because you're human. So meaning you need to cook your food. You need to eat good food that will nourish you. You need to eat your fruits. You need to drink good. You need to drink water. You know what I'm saying? You need to fast as well to get rid of toxins in your body. So if you know this as a human being, or some people don't know this, to be honest, that's what I'm saying. Like the world's gone so backwards, people don't know it. That's how you're meant to be as a human. People just want to do things that's not meant for their body. So it's like they can do. It's like they, even though they're in this world, they're in this three-dimensional realm, they still don't know how to act. So how can they even act when now they're in the spiritual realm? When now they have to go in within themselves. If that makes any sense. But people are of the spirit. So Romans 8:5 says people are of the spirit. So you know you're of the spirit. So the Bible knows that you're of the spirit. Humans know you're of the spirit. You should know that you're of the spirit. You are of the spirit. You are more spirit than flesh. You know? So if you know you're of the spirit, you should have an understanding. You should know about yourself. Because it's still part of self. Spirit is self. So spirit is self. So it goes back to the knowledge of self. So if you know that you are the spirit, why shouldn't you know about the spirit? Why should you just be like, well, I know I'm the spirit, but that's it? You know? Because the spirit is hidden. It's something you have to look for. It's something you have to search for. It's hidden, but it's hidden within you. It's not hidden outside of you. That's why Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within you. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven is here. But he didn't mean the kingdom of heaven is here on earth. He said the kingdom of heaven is here within you. That's what he was always trying to say. He was always trying to say the kingdom of heaven is within everything you want, everything you need is within you. And what's within you? The spirit. That's the hidden factor within you that you need to look for. But this can only come through experiences in life. But this is why you need to be very, very, very observant about yourself, very, very observant about things around you, you know, and looking at things and seeing how is it affecting you? How is it affecting my spirit? How is it affecting me within me? Because within you is another world. Within you is another world. We can see this world out here. We feel like we are part of it. Yes, we are part of it, but this is a different world. You need to you need to separate the world from yourself. You need to separate worldly things from spiritual things. Although they can come together, but that's what we're talking about, you know. So Romans 8, chapter 8, verse 5 says, people of the spirit need to have greater understanding of the things of the spirit. So who can be of the spirit? Who can be of the spirit? That's the question. I want you to answer that if you can. Who can be of the spirit? People who do right are of the spirit. Like I said, spirit, there's different type of spirit, but when we talk about the spirit, we're talking about righteous spirit, righteous actions. You know what I'm saying? Righteous doings, things that come from within. You know, because spirit comes from within you. So righteous people are of the spirit. People who do right are of the spirit. Like I said, we are old enough to know the right from wrongs. We're gonna make mistakes, but when you make that mistake, you know that mistake is a wrong, and you can correct it to be in a right. Life is all about lessons. The difference between being of the spirit and not of the spirit. So what's the difference? The difference between being of the spirit and not of the spirit. So the spirit to do right can be activated within every human being, because man is an aspect of God, meaning man has good inside of him. Man has righteousness installed in him by nature. Man has righteousness installed in him by nature. So let me break this down. So the spirit to do right can be activated within every human being. The spirit of doing right is already within you. This is when you're an infant. This is when you were born. This is when you were born, God has given you something to do. God has given you a mission. This is when you were born. And this mission is what we need to establish when we are in this three-dimensional realm, this physical plane of soul. So the spirit to do right can be activated with every human being. So humanity, the reason why God created humanity was for humanity to do right. So humanity is meant, as a human, you're meant to do the right things. But what is the right things That's the question we need to ask, because some people don't know the right things. Some people feel like the wrong things are the right things, you know? But this is why you need to understand nature. You need to understand nature. You need to understand, like, our ancestors, when they were still understanding things, when they were still understanding themselves, when they were still understanding God and themselves, they've always analyzed things that they saw and made an example within themselves. For example, they will see plants growing. They'll see, how come this plant is growing like this? You know? But they knew that the plant was obeying God. For the plant to grow, it needs to obey God. And they thought like it looks like magic. Like the plant is just growing, but you need to do the right things to the plant. You need to water the plant. You know what I'm saying? You need to make sure the plant has right pH levels, because the plant is living. The plant needs to breathe. It's living. So you need to make sure that the plant has sunlight. The sun. How comes the sun comes up? The sun never stops rising in the morning, and you know, even though the sun doesn't rise, there is the earth that actually spins around. But the sun is always there. The sun is always obeying God. The moon is always obeying God. So how comes these things are always there and they don't move and they still shine bright and they still nourish us and they still do things. They still do things that God wants them to do, because they were being part of their nature. They were just being like themselves. They were not being nothing else apart from themselves. The sun cannot act like the moon, because the sun is there, was created to do certain things, like nourish us, like grow food for us, you know, to shine the light upon us, to make sure that our body is right. You know, the sun is there to provide for us, you know. But the moon has different things to do. The moon cannot be like the sun, because the sun shines upon the moon. It's the sun that actually gives the moon life. The moon needs the sun, but that doesn't mean that the moon doesn't have a reason for its creation. But God made sure the moon, you have to obey the sun. For you to shine, you have to obey the sun. It's the same thing of us. For us to shine, we are like the moon. We see ourselves like the moon. For us to shine, we need to obey the sun. And that's why Jesus in the Bible always had the sun behind his head, because Jesus is the sun. Jesus is the light. But not the light is in physical being, it's through his words. So Jesus is shining his light, like the moon, that the sun shines his light on the moon. Jesus shines his light to us with his words, with his truth, like the sun shines his light on the moon so that we can shine. So if you think about it, the moon is mirroring the sun by shining its own light. But it's because of the sun. That's why the moon can shine so beautifully. But the moon, that doesn't mean that the moon still can't express himself, you know?